welcome to the Sleepy Facts universe. Here, in this quiet corner of the cosmos, we explore not the distant stars, but a world much closer to home. A world where science whispers and knowledge is a gentle tide, meant not to startle, but to soothe. Tonight, we turn our attention to a place of deep peace, the forest, not as we see it in a hurry, but as it exists in its own unhurried time. We'll wander through dreamy science, uncovering the most relaxing facts about these ancient, breathing landscapes. So, wherever you are, just let your eyes grow heavy and allow your mind to drift into the green, shaded heart of the woods. Imagine, if you will, standing at the edge of a vast forest as the late afternoon sun slants through the canopy. That first deep breath you take, it tastes different, doesn't it? Cool and slightly sweet. That is the breath of the forest itself. What you are breathing is more than just air, it is a conversation. Trees, those silent, towering beings, are speaking in a language of gases. Through the miraculous, quiet work of photosynthesis, they draw in the carbon dioxide we exhale, and in return, they gift us oxygen. But it is a slow gift, given without expectation. Each leaf, a tiny, sun-powered factory, operates on a timescale of sunlight and seasons. Think of that. With every relaxed breath you take here, you are participating in an ancient exchange, a partnership written in the very air, millions of years in the making. And as you wander deeper, the light changes. It becomes a dappled, green-tinted gold, filtering down through layers of life. This filtering is not random. The canopy, the uppermost layer of branches and leaves, acts as a gentle living sieve. It softens the harshness of the direct sun, breaking it into countless, shifting specks of light that dance on the forest floor. This phenomenon creates what scientists sometimes call a light bath, a diffuse, calming glow that reduces glare and shadows. It's a light that invites the eyes to relax, to lose their focus, much like the soft, ambient light preferred in spaces of rest. The forest, in its infinite wisdom, creates its own perfect, soothing luminosity. Beneath your feet, the ground is not merely soil. It is a story, a layered, slow-motion story of return and renewal. This soft carpet of decaying leaves, brittle twigs, and broken bark is known as the duff layer. It crunches faintly, a hushed sound. Here, time is measured not in seconds, but in seasons of letting go. Each fallen leaf from last autumn is undergoing a silent transformation. Tiny, unseen organisms, fungi and microbes, work in a cooperation so slow it is almost a form of meditation. They are deconstructing the complex materials of the leaf, breaking them down into simpler components. This isn't death, it is a careful dismantling, a returning of borrowed resources to the earth. From this quiet decomposition, the forest gathers the nutrients to build again, to push forth new green buds when the spring signals. It is the ultimate lesson in patience, a reminder that endings are merely preparations for beginnings, all happening in a hushed, cyclical rhythm. And listen to the silence, or rather to the sounds that fill it. The distant call of a bird, the rustle of a small creature in the underbrush, the sigh of a branch high above. These sounds are not interruptions to the quiet, they are its very texture. In audio ecology, there is a concept known as biophony, the collective voice of all living organisms in a given habitat. The forest's biophony is not a cacophony, but a spaced-out, tranquil symphony. The sounds are irregular, unpredictable in a gentle way, which allows the brain to hear them without feeling the need to constantly interpret or anticipate. This sonic environment naturally lowers our stress responses, guiding our nervous system toward a state of alert tranquility. It is nature's own white noise, perfected over eons. So, as we begin our rest here at the edge of these waking dreams, know that you are surrounded by a system built on balance, on slow exchange, and on gentle cycles. The air you envision breathing is a gift. The light you imagine is softened by a living ceiling. The ground beneath you is a testament to serene renewal, and the sounds around you are a lullaby of natural space. Let this knowledge wrap around you like a soft blanket. There is no need to hold on to any single thought. Just let them drift by, like those specks of light through the canopy. The forest is not going anywhere. It is here, breathing with you, in and out, in and out. As your awareness settles deeper into this verdant space, let your attention drift downward, below that soft duff layer, into a realm seldom seen but profoundly felt. The soil here is not a static thing. It is a living, breathing network. Imagine the finest, most delicate threads, white and gossamer, weaving through the darkness in an intricate, sprawling web. This is the mycelial network, the vegetative part of fungi. These threads, called hyphae, connect tree root to tree root, creating what scientists poetically term the wood wide web. Through this silent, subterranean internet, trees do not compete in solitude. They communicate. A mother tree, feeling the stress of drought, can send chemical signals through these fungal pathways, directing nutrients to her struggling seedlings. It is a hidden system of kinship and support, operating entirely in the quiet dark, a reminder that even in seeming isolation, connection thrives unseen. And consider the trees themselves, these gentle giants. Their growth is a testament to patient accumulation. Each ring within their trunk is not just a measure of a year's passing, but a diary entry written in cellulose. A wide, light band speaks of a generous spring, abundant with rain and sunlight. A narrow, dark line whispers of a summer that was parched, a season of quiet endurance. The tree does not rush through the hard times. It simply adapts, contracts, and waits. It has learned the deep wisdom of dormancy, of pulling vitality inward to preserve its core. There is a profound comfort in that rhythm, expansion and contraction, not as failure, but as a necessary pulse of life. Your own breath mirrors this ancient pattern, a gentle tide within you. Now turn your mind's eye upward, along the immense textured bark of a veteran oak or a redwood. This bark is more than armor. It is an entire landscape for minute, quiet lives. Lichens, those pale green and silver splashes, are not one organism, but two, a fungus and an alga, living in such close, symbiotic harmony that they become a new, singular entity. They require nothing from the tree but a place to rest. They take their moisture from the mist, their nutrients from the air itself. They are emblems of self-sufficient peace, growing at a pace that is almost geological, a slow, beautiful stain of life upon life. Mosses, too, cushion every north-facing surface, creating velvet pads that hold miniature worlds of moisture and microfauna. These are lives lived in the slow lane, utterly content with their modest, crucial place in the whole. In this forest, even the rain is transformed. When a droplet forms high in the atmosphere and begins its descent, it is just a simple bead of water. But as it falls through the forest canopy, it undergoes a gentle alchemy. It touches a pine needle, collecting a hint of essential oil, a faint, clean scent of terpene. It beads on a lichen, gathering minuscule minerals. By the time it drips from a leaf tip to finally land on the moss below, it is no longer just rain. It is what some call stem flow or throughfall, water enriched by its passage through the living architecture of the trees. The forest, in its endless creativity, even changes the nature of a simple raindrop, blessing the earth with more than just water, but with the distilled essence of the canopy. So feel that connection, from the fungal threads in the deep earth to the lichens on the high bark, all interwoven in a cycle of giving and receiving that asks for nothing but to continue. There is no urgency in this system, only a slow, sure flow. Your own body, settling deeper into rest, understands this flow. Your heartbeat steadies to a patient rhythm. Your thoughts can begin to meander like those enriched raindrops, taking their time, touching down softly without force. The forest holds you in this web of quiet interdependence, where every breath you exhale is a gift received, and every silent fact is a stepping stone deeper into dreams. Let this liquid rhythm guide your thoughts now to another wonder, one that fills the spaces between the trees as evening begins to gently press upon the afternoon. It is the air itself, but not just as a medium for scent or sound. Forest air carries within it an invisible mist, a healing exhalation. These are phytoncides, volatile organic compounds released by trees, particularly evergreens like pine, cedar, and fir. They are the forest's own antimicrobial defense, a subtle chemical conversation between plants. For us, breathing in this aromatic mist is a quiet blessing. These compounds have been shown to calm our nervous systems, lowering stress hormones and inviting our white blood cells to strengthen. With every slow, deliberate breath you imagine taking, you are not just receiving oxygen, you are inhaling the forest's own gentle medicine, an ancient, unseen embrace that supports your body's own quiet work of restoration. And as this botanical mist settles upon the mind, consider the very shape of the world here. Notice how the path before you seems to curve, to disappear behind a thicket or a gentle rise. This is not by accident. In contrast to the stark, straight lines of human architecture, the forest is a realm of soft edges and beckoning curves. There are no sharp corners to catch the eye with urgency. This design principle, known in aesthetics as biomorphic, speaks directly to a deeper part of our consciousness. Our minds are soothed by flowing lines, by the promise of a landscape that unfolds gradually, revealing itself only as we are ready to see it. It invites a gentle curiosity, a languid exploration without a destination. There is always just a little more around the bend, a continuation of the calm, so the mind need not seek an end, but can simply wander in pleasant, unhurried possibility. Within this softly unfolding space, life finds its niches. High in the crook of an ancient elm, a pile of twigs forms a messy, comfortable bowl. This is the dray of a sleeping squirrel, but it is more than a nest. It is a testament to insulated warmth. The squirrel, in its instinctive wisdom, does not merely collect sticks. It lines this haven with soft, shredded bark, with dry moss, and with its own fur. It creates a microclimate, a pocket of still air held close to its body. This is a principle of peace, creating a small, bounded space of comfort within a vast world. As you rest, you might imagine crafting your own dray of thoughts, lining it only with soft, calm impressions, building a cozy retreat within the expansive universe of your mind. Now, direct your inner gaze to the colors that surround you. The forest palette is not one of bright, stimulating primaries, but of muted, restful tones. The myriad greens of moss, lichen, leaf, and fern are all filtered through that diffused canopy light, softening into shades of sage, olive, and hunter. Browns are rich and earthy, from the umber of wet soil to the tawny gold of fallen pine needles. This dominance of greens and browns is profoundly stabilizing for the human psyche. These colors are associated with growth, stability, and the earth itself. They are hues that do not shout, but hum a low, continuous song of belonging. They tell the eyes, and thus the brain, that there is no threat here, only sustained and gentle life, allowing your visual cortex to relax into a state of receptive calm. So as the light mellows further towards twilight, the entire forest begins to shift its state, just as you are shifting yours. The diurnal creatures are finishing their last activities, their movements becoming slower, more deliberate. The crepuscular ones, the deer, the fox, the certain owls, are just beginning to stir, stretching into the threshold between day and night. This transition is not a sharp change, but a slow, seamless blending. It is a communal sigh. The forest itself is preparing for its own version of rest, a different kind of respiration in the cooler, damp night air. You are not separate from this transition. You are part of this gentle global turning towards quiet. Your breathing syncs with the settling of the woods. Your release of the day mirrors the trees' release of their gaseous day's work into the darkening sky. You are, in this moment, fully woven into the fabric of this peaceful, living world. In this deepening quiet, a new kind of awareness in me. RGEs, one attuned not to forms but to spaces. Look up through the lattice of branches. The patches of darkening sky you see are not mere absences of leaves, they are portals. Each one is a framed glimpse of the infinite, a reminder that this protective canopy is both a ceiling and a window. This interplay between shelter and openness is deeply comforting. We feel held by the embrace of the trees, yet our minds can still drift into the expansive freedom of the sky. It is the perfect balance, security without confinement, a gentle lesson in being both grounded and free. As you rest, your consciousness can occupy that same balanced space, feeling safely held while your imagination roams the star-dusted fields of approaching night. Beneath this benevolent frame, another subtle change is occurring. The scents of the day, those bright notes of sun-warmed pine and damp fern, are beginning to change. As the temperature drops, the forest releases a deeper, cooler aroma, the scent of petrichor. This is the earthy perfume released when water meets dry soil, but here it is more. It is the exhalation of cooling stone, the release of compounds from sleeping moss, the faint, sweet decay of wood surrendering peacefully to time. This nightly fragrance is the olfactory equivalent of a lullaby, a scent, memory so ancient within us that it signals to the deepest parts of the brain that it is time to cease striving, that the world is settling, and so too can we. And in this settling, time itself aims to transform. The forest operates on cycles that stretch far beyond our daily rhythms. Consider the lifespan of the common delicate fern unfurling near a rotting log. Its frond may last a single season, but its rhizome, the stem hidden underground, has been there for decades, patiently sending up new green curls each spring. It witnesses centuries in its slow, subterranean way. The towering tree beside it may be a sapling when the fern first established itself, and they will grow old together in a silent, vegetative companionship. This elongated sense of time puts our own fleeting worries into a peaceful perspective. The forest is not impatient for tomorrow. It is fully, completely resident in the long, slow now. Listening to its silence, you can feel your own personal timeline soften, the sharp edges of hours and minutes blurring into a continuous, gentle present. Now, feel the temperature on your skin, not as a chill, but as a blanket of coolness. The forest floor loses the sun's warmth quickly, creating subtle, vertical rivers of air. Cooler, heavier air begins to drift slowly downhill, flowing like an invisible, gentle stream into the valleys and hollows. This is katabatic flow, a silent, nocturnal drainage of air. It carries with it the scents of the high woods and the quiet of the peaks down to the lowlands. You are immersed in this silent river. It is a physical reminder that everything in nature is in a state of graceful movement, even in rest. Nothing is truly saint-atic. Your own blood flows with this same steady, purposeful grace, a quiet internal river carrying nourishment and peace to every part of you. So, as the last ember of daylight fades from the highest leaf, allow yourself to become part of this exquisite slow-motion dance. You are under the framed sky, breathing the cooling, scented air, your sense of time softened by ancient rhizomes and patient bark, cradled by the downhill flow of the night air. There is no need to be anything but a witness to this graceful transition. The forest does not fight the coming dark. It welcomes it as another phase of its being. The trees stand a little taller in the relief of the night, their work of the day complete. In this same spirit, you can release the light burden of your own day, feeling it drain away with the cool air, leaving only a serene and open readiness for whatever dreams may drift down from those starry portals above. Within this chorus, if you listen with a dreamer's ear, you may detect a subtle rhythmic pattern, not a strict beat, but a pulsing harmony. This is the unseen symphony of the forest's heartbeat, driven by a process so gradual it escapes all but the most patient observation. It is the very growth of the trees themselves. While we sleep, trees are not entirely still. In the cool, damp hours of the night, water tension within their trunks evens out, and microscopic cells adjust. The trunk diameter actually contracts a minuscule amount, a gentle exhalation after heat day's expansion in the sun. This daily pulse of swelling and shrinking is a tree's slow, silent breath, measured over the course of full days and nights. Your own resting body aligns with this majestic, slow rhythm, a distant echo of a vital force that measures time in rings, not in seconds. Turn your attention to the tapestry above, where those framed portals of sky now glitter with early stars. But between you and them, another closer galaxy thrives. Each leaf, from the broad oak to the needle of the fir, hosts a universe of its own. The leaf's surface, under magnification, reveals a landscape of valleys and ridges, stomata that open and close like tiny mouths breathing in the carbon dioxide you exhale. On this surface, dewdrops form not as simple spheres, but as microscopic pearls, rolling gently along minute hairs called trichomes, before coalescing and falling. This entire intricate world exists on a scale of stillness, a testament to the fact that profound complexity can reside in utter peace. Your own body is such a universe, countless processes continuing their quiet, intelligent work as you drift, requiring no conscious direction from you, only your trust. And consider the journey of a single molecule of water from deep in the soil to the high air. Drawn up through hair-thin rootlets, it travels upward through the xylem, the tree's vascular system, not by pumping, but by cohesion and tension. It is pulled by the gentle evaporation from a leaf at the top, a process called transpiration. This molecule becomes part of an unbroken sun-powered column of water stretching hundreds of feet, from dark root to sunlit leaf. Then, released as vapor, it joins the air, later to cool and become the mist that shrouds the morning treetops. This cycle is a silent, constant ascent, a quiet pilgrimage from the underworld to the heavens happening millions of times over in every tree, every hour. It is a story of uplift that asks for nothing, a gentle, perpetual rising that you can feel in the lightness of your own spirit as it begins to untether from the day. Below, the soft earth continues its own quiet work. Among the fungal threads and crumbling duff, small stones are being gently persuaded to change. Lichens secrete acids so mild their effect is measured in centuries. They slowly, patiently etch the surface of a granite pebble, breaking it down grain by microscopic grain. This is how mountains are ultimately softened into soil. It is a force of incredible patience, a reminder that persistence need not be forceful. It can be a soft, continuous presence that gradually transforms hardness into fertility. Any lingering thoughts that feel rigid or sharp can be subject to this same gentle process, softened by the steady, patient atmosphere of sleep, eroded into fine, harmless grains that will nourish future peace. In this space, the boundary between you and the forest becomes beautifully blurred. The rhythmic contraction of the trees mirrors your breath. The dewdrop universe on a leaf reflects the cellular universe within you. The upward journey of water echoes your own release. The patient softening of stone mirrors the gentle dissolution of your conscious thoughts. You are not a visitor here, but a participant in these ancient, tranquil processes. The night deepens its embrace, and the forest's timeless, slow-motion activities continue, a symphony of growth, breath, ascent, and softening that cradles your awareness, inviting it to lose its edges and simply be part of the living, dreaming whole. This gentle wind aloft carries with it seeds, not the helicopter spin of a maple key, but something quieter, the dust-like seeds of an orchid perhaps, or the feathered parachute of a willow herb. They are travelers on the night air, embarking on journeys of incredible chance. Each one carries a complete, miniature blueprint for life, a latent forest packed into a speck. Their navigation is not one of will, but of surrender. They trust entirely to the currents and eddies, to the soft landings on damp moss or rich humus. There is a profound peace in this model of existence, releasing one's potential to the care of the universe, with no expectation, only the quiet hope of a suitable place to rest and unfold. As you drift, you might imagine your own thoughts as these seeds, released from any duty to immediately take root, simply allowed to float on the calm currents of your mind, going where they will, without direction, below where. These seeds may find their rest. The soil is performing its own kind of alchemy. This is the realm of the detritivore, the humble recyclers, the earthworm, moving its segmented body through the dark with a slow, muscular patience, ingesting soil and decaying matter. The pill bug, curling into a perfect armored ball when disturbed, then unfurling to continue its meticulous work. They are not decomposers themselves, but the gentle preparers, breaking down the large into the small, creating a feast for the microscopic. Theirs is a life of constant, quiet curation, turning over the past to make it usable for the future. It is a purposeful, uncelebrated toil that sustains everything above. In their endless turning, there is a metaphor for the mind's own nocturnal work, sifting through the day's experiences, breaking down what is no longer needed, and preparing the nutrients for tomorrow's growth. Now, let your awareness expand to the quality of the darkness itself. It is not a uniform black, but a living, layered gloom. Close to the ground, it is deep and velvety, cradling the roots. At shoulder height, it may be pierced by the faint, ghostly glow of bioluminescent fungi, a foxfire on a rotting log, a cool greenish light that seems to breathe from the wood itself. This light is produced by a chemical reaction within the mycelium, a silent, living radiance that illuminates nothing but its own beautiful mystery. Higher still, the darkness thins to indigo where the starlight filters. Down. This graduated darkness is like a soothing balm for the senses, asking nothing of the eyes but to accept its gentle gradient, a visual murmur that eases the mind toward the inner sight of dreams. And in this softened world, sound travels differently. The day's sharp acoustics are gone, replaced by a muffled, intimate clarity. A rustle yards away seems close, yet softened, as if wrapped in cotton wool. This is because the cooler, damper night air and the stilling of the leaves absorbs and bends sound waves gently. They lose their harsh edges. The call of a nightjar, when it comes, seems to arrive from everywhere and nowhere at once, a wraith-like sound that is part of the atmosphere itself. This acoustic softening allows the brain to process sound without locating it precisely, removing the need for alertness. Sounds become textures, not signals, weaving into the fabric of the night rather than piercing through it. So, here you are, suspended in this compassionate ecosystem. Above you, the surrendered journey of seeds on an aimless breeze. Beneath you, the slow, purposeful turning of the earth's gentle custodians. Around you, a darkness that is alive with soft gradients and cold, living light. Through it all, sounds that are cushioned and woven into a seamless auditory tapestry. Every element conspires to demonstrate a different form of restful being: surrender, patient labor, muted sensation, and blurred boundaries. There is no single way to find peace here. Peace is the only medium that exists. You are floating within it, as one of those seeds on the calm nocturnal air, carried effortlessly toward your own gentle unfolding. This water, emerging from some deep aquifer within the bedrock, has never seen the sky until this moment. It has traveled for years, perhaps centuries, through layers of stone, filtered to purity by immense geological patience. Now, it bubbles into a fern-edged pool, its surface a perfect black mirror capturing fragments of the starry canopy. This spring is a beginning. It is the source of a stream that will eventually find a river, and that river will find the sea. But here, at its origin, it holds a singular, pristine potential. It is water in its most hopeful, gentle state, a quiet genesis. As you listen to its unwavering trickle, you might feel a similar point of origin within yourself, a serene wellspring of calm that exists before any thought or story, simply flowing because it is its nature to flow. Around this pool, life gathers in silent appreciation. Mosses are at their most luxuriant here, drinking not from rain, but from this constant rising gift. Their emerald fronds are perpetually bejeweled with moisture, each droplet a lens magnifying the intricate cellular patterns of their simple leaves. They ask for nothing more than this constant seepage, this reliable kindness from the earth. Their existence is a lesson in contentment with what is steadily, reliably given. They do not strive for the heights the canopy. They find their paradise in the low, damp dark, thriving on constancy. This is a different kind of ambition, one of deep, settled fulfillment in a perfect niche. The air just above the water's surface holds a coolness that is almost tangible. It is a microclimate, a pocket of freshness that seems to slow time itself. This coolness arises from evaporation, a quiet process where the most energetic water molecules leap from the pool's surface into the air, taking heat with them. This gentle cooling is an unconscious gift from the water to the immediate world. It chills the air for the moss, provides a drinking stop for the night-flying moth, and creates a barely perceptible downward drift of fragrant, damp air. It is an act of quiet generosity that changes the immediate universe without any effort at all, simply by being itself. And if you could see below the water's obsidian surface, another world operates on a slowed clock. Mayfly larvae cling to the underside of stones, their gills waving like minute feathers in the current. They will live here for a year, perhaps more, in this state of aquatic childhood before emerging for a single dazzling day of flight. Their long submersion is a study in delayed gratification, a whole lifetime spent in preparation for one brief, glorious culmination. Yet there is no restlessness in their slow growth. They are fully present in their watery realm, filtering nutrients from the flow, each day a step in their beautiful, inevitable transformation. Their patience is absolute, a birthright of their kind. This small spring-fed oasis is thus a hub of quiet narratives, of origin, of contentment, of unconscious giving, and of patient becoming. You are not separate from these stories. The constant trickle mirrors the steady flow of your breath. The contentment of the moss reflects a possible state of mind. The cooling gift of evaporation is like the calming influence of a deep, restful breath on your nervous system. The patient larvae remind you that not all growth is visible, and that the most important transformations often happen in the dark, in a state of surrender to the current that carries you. Here, at the forest's quiet heartspring, everything is both beginning and continuation. A circle with no sharp edges, only the soft, endless sound of water meeting air and life meeting its perfect, unhurried moment. Those imagined ripples move outward, touching the still, damp edges of the pool and then fading into the absorbent moss. This is how influence works in the forest, not through force, but through gentle, propagating waves that gradually diminish into the welcoming fabric of the whole. A falling nut, the footfall of a deer, the drop of water, each sends out a quiet signal that is felt, absorbed, and answered, not with alarm, but with a subtle adjustment. The spiderweb strung between two ferns trembles and stills. A water strider adjusts its course by a millimeter. The forest accepts the disturbank, and returns to equilibrium, a master of soft resilience. Your own presence here is such a gentle wave, a ripple of calm that the night accepts without question, allowing it to spread and then fade into the greater tranquility. Now, let your attention drift upward from the spring along the trunk of a water-loving willow or alder. Here, the bark is often stained with a vertical silvery sheen, a trace of the high watermark from spring floods, now just a memory in the moonlight. The tree bears this line not as a scar, but as a record of endurance. It stood through the surge of meltwater, flexible yet rooted, and when the waters receded, it remained, marked by the experience but fundamentally unchanged. It is a testament to the strength found in yielding, in letting some things flow past while holding firm to one's core. This silent history written on the bark speaks of seasons that have passed, of challenges met with deep, vegetative patience, each one leaving only a softer, more weathered, and more beautiful surface. Between these steadfast trees, the mist is beginning to form. It is not a weather event, but a slow exhalation of the earth itself. As the ground cools faster than the moist air above it, tiny droplets condense out of the invisible, clinging to every surface. This is radiation fog, a cloud born from intimacy with the soil. It starts in the lowest hollows, pooling like a silent white lake. It is the forest weaving its own dreamscape, a veil between the solid world of roots and the airy world of leaves. To walk through it is to move through a softening of all edges, a visual quieting. In this mist, shapes become suggestions, distances become mysteries, and the world is rendered beautifully vague. It is the mind's own medium in deep sleep, where sharp definitions dissolve and everything blends into a peaceful, unifying gray. Within this softening veil, the concept of individual beings begins to gentle. The tall, distinct tree becomes a fading pillar. The cluster of ferns becomes a soft green smudge. This visual blending mirrors a deeper truth of the forest, that individuality is both real and illusory. The tree is itself, yet it is also part of the mycorrhizal network, a host for lichens, a shelter for nests, a participant in the hydrologic cycle. Its existence is relational, a node in a web. The mist doesn't erase this. It visually demonstrates the interconnectedness, showing how each form is both separate and part of a diffuse, beautiful whole. In this softened perception, the pressure to be a sharply defined self relaxes. You, too, can be a gentle presence within a wider, dreamy network. And so, the night deepens its teachings. You have moved from the genesis of the spring to the gentle ripples of influence, from the enduring marks on bark to the forming of a dreamlike mist. Each lesson is in softness, acceptance, and interconnected peace. The forest does not resist the ripple, the flood mark, or the fog. It incorporates them into its being. As you settle further into rest, you can incorporate all sensations, all thoughts, just as the moss absorbs the ripple, not as disturbances, but as passing textures in the vast, quiet fabric of the night. The mist of sleep rises within you now, blurring the edges of the day, softening memories into impressions, and weaving you into the timeless relational tapestry of this sleepy fax universe. In this muted world, a different sense awakens. The sense of touch, of subtle presence. The mist itself is a tangible nothingness, a cool kiss on the skin that leaves behind a film of diamond droplets. Each needle of the pine, each hair on the fern frond, becomes a jeweled scepter, bearing the weight of this condensed sky. This is not rain which falls from above, but a gift drawn from the very air, a gathering of scattered molecules into perfect spherical beads. They hang, poised, until their collective weight becomes a gentle persuasion, and they slide in silent unity down a groove in the bark, returning to the earth from which the water first evaporated. This is the forest hydrating itself in the quietest way possible, a closed loop of giving and receiving that requires no storm, only patience and a change in temperature. Within this hydrated silence, even the grandest structures are transformed. A massive fallen log, a monarch brought low by wind or time, is no longer a tragedy in the mist. It is a drifting continent, a soft moss-covered arc, its once hard outlay. Nay is blurred by the fog and softened by layers of emerald growth. It has become something new, a nurse log. In its decaying heart, seeds that fell on unforgiving soil have found a purchase. A line of hemlock seedlings now rises from its back, a tiny forest sailing on a forest of the past. The old tree, in its passing, has become a cradle. This is the forest's answer to an ending, not an erasure, but a repurposing with profound gentleness. What was once a towering reach for the sun is now a grounded, nurturing embrace, a promise that support continues in forms we might not immediately recognize. Now consider the very temperature of this moment. The mist creates a remarkable thermal equilibrium. It shields the ground from radiating away all its heat, holding the day's last warmth close like a gentle insulator. Above the fog layer, the air is colder. Below it, within this white world, the temperature is stable, constant. This fog is a protective blanket, preventing a sharp frost from forming on the tender moss and the sleeping insect. It is an act of atmospheric kindness, a natural regulation that ensures the forest's most delicate inhabitants are not subjected to a sudden shock. You can feel this principle of insulated protection around your own rest, a sense of being held in a stable, gentle climate, shielded from any sharp edges of the world, safe to simply be. And in this stable white cocoon, time's passage is marked not by clocks, but by gradual, almost imperceptible change. The mist may thin in one area, thickening in another, as if the landscape itself is breathing slowly. A branch, made heavy by its load of droplets, may give a slow, graceful dip, releasing its burden and rising again in a motion that takes minutes. These are the gestures of the sleeping forest, slow and fluid, like the movements of a deep dreamer. To witness this is to learn a new speed, or rather to understand the beauty of near stasis. There is profound activity here, but it is the activity of molecules condensing, of wood decaying at a cellular pace, of seedlings putting down roots too slowly for any eye to see. It is a world of majestic slowness, inviting your mind to descend to that same peaceful pace. Here, cradled in the fog's gentle insulation, witnessing the soft arc of the nurse log and the slow dance of dripping jewels, you are at the heart of the forest's most compassionate physics. It is a world that moderates, that repurposes, that moves with infinite patience. There is no hurry to become clear again, no struggle to be seen. There is only the quiet, confident existence within the veil. This is the forest's deepest rest, and it welcomes you into its rhythm. Your breathing becomes the slow thinning and thickening of the mist. Your heartbeat is the occasional heavy drop from a branch. You are resting within the very breath and pulse of the earth's gentle self-care. As this liquid clock keeps its unhurried time, another form of timekeeping is occurring in the hidden reaches of the trees. High in a snag, a standing dead tree, a small cavity holds a secret. Within, a creature like a flying squirrel or a dormouse is curled in a state of torpor. Its metabolism has slowed to a fraction of its waking rate. Its heartbeat is a faint, distant echo. Its breathing is so shallow it barely mists the air. This is not sleep as we know it, but a deeper surrender, a deliberate step to the very threshold of life, conserving every possible spark of energy. It is a profound trust in the return of the sun, a biological faith that warmth and food will come again. In its still, cool body, we see a reflection of ultimate relaxation, a release so complete it borders on disappearance, a peaceful abdication from the demands of activity. Down below, the fog performs another quiet magic on sound. The call of a great horned owl, which in clear air would be a bold, territorial announcement, is transformed. It enters the mist and is instantly swaddled, its edges rounded, its volume softened. It becomes a deep, resonant hum that seems to emanate from the fog itself, directionless and ancient. Other sounds, the crunch of a distant twig, the rustle of unseen wings, are similarly absorbed and diffused. This acoustic filtering creates a world where nothing is jarring, where every auditory event is pre-soothed before it reaches the ear. It is the natural equivalent of a noise-canceling sanctuary, engineered by humidity and cool air, gifting the listener with a sea of softened signals that require no decoding, only acceptance. And within the soil, beneath the insulating blanket of fog and duff, a different kind of memory is held. Tree roots do not simply dig downward, they sense and remember. When a root tip encounters a nutrient-rich patch or a reliable seam of moisture, it alters its growth pattern, branching more generously in that direction. It can also avoid areas of toxicity or competition. This is a form of knowledge, written not in neurons, but in the very shape of the root system, a living map of past discoveries and resources. It is a slow, vegetative intelligence, a patient learning from the environment that guides future growth. Your own unconscious mind holds similar gentle maps, pathways to calm, to safety, to peace, formed by a lifetime of quiet experiences now guiding you effortlessly toward deeper rest. The mist itself is now beginning a lazy upward drift, as the first faint hint of a far-off dawn, still hours away, touches the highest atmosphere. The gentlest of thermal currents stirs. The fog responds not by vanishing, but by lifting. It detaches from the ground in tattered, luminous sheets, rising to catch in the mid-level branches, transforming into a silver cloud that hugs the hillside. This lifting is a slow-motion revelation. The forest floor emerges gradually, damp and dark, while the canopy seems to float on a sea of pearl. It is a breathtaking lesson in graceful transition, in how to change a state without turmoil. The fog does not fight to stay or struggle to leave. It is simply moved by a force larger than itself, adapting its form while retaining its essential gentle nature. In this space, between the deep torpor of the hidden creature and the rising memory of the roots, between the softened owl call and the lifting veil, you find yourself in a realm of profound acceptance. Every process here is an example of elegant surrender to the season, to the physics of sound and light, to the gentle forces of air and memory. There is no resistance, only a fluent, beautiful adaptation. As you drift deeper, your own mind can practice this fluent surrender. Let thoughts lift like the fog without struggle. Let your awareness rest in the soft, insulated torpor of the dormouse. Trust the rooted, unconscious maps within you to guide this journey. The forest is demonstrating, in 100 quiet ways, how to let go completely, and in that demonstration, you are shown the path to your most peaceful, dream-filled rest. In the wake of that sound, a subtle shift of awareness occurs. The darkness is no longer absolute. From the eastern horizon, an immeasurably faint dilution of black into deepest blue begins, a process so slow it is invisible to the watching eye, perceptible only to the patient soul. This is not dawn, but its first most tentative precursor, the astronomical twilight. Stars begin to lose their sharpness, not by vanishing, but by softening, as if the universe itself is exhaling a veil of the finest blue gauze. This gradual illumination is the gentlest possible awakening, a reminder that light returns not by a switch, but by an almost hesitant incremental generosity. It asks nothing of the sleeping world, merely suggesting the possibility of day with a touch so faint it could be a dream itself. With this faint light comes a new clarity in the air. The lifted fog has left a gift. Every surface is beaded with dew. Spiderwebs, invisible by day and shrouded by night mist, are now revealed as masterworks of architecture. Strung between grasses and low branches, each silken thread is a necklace of liquid diamonds, weighing down the intricate spiral into a shimmering harp. These are not traps in this moment, but instruments of captured light, intricate and temporary. The dew clings, not out of effort, but from simple cohesion, a peaceful marriage between water and silk. Soon the sun's first true rays will turn each web into a fleeting radiant spectacle, before the jewels evaporate and the architects retire. For now, they are silent chandeliers in the hall of the fading night. Beneath this jeweled lattice, the forest floor stirs with a life so small, it defies the concept of hurry. A slug, its body a living rivulet of muscle, glides along a vein of moisture on a fallen leaf. Its pace is a smooth, unwavering flow, a study in efficient, frictionless movement. It leaves behind a silver trail of mucus, not as waste, but as a pathfinder for its return. A moonlit road written in its own essence. This trail will soon vanish, absorbed by the day's air, but in this moment it is a record of a perfectly deliberate journey. Its slow, gliding passage is a meditation in motion, demonstrating that progress need not be rapid to be purposeful, that one can traverse a world with seamless, silent intent. And high above, the trees are the first to feel the change in the light. Their uppermost leaves and needles, those that spent the night bathed in starlight, now sense the first photon whispers of the approaching sun. Within their cells, a quiet preparation begins. Chlorophyll molecules, the engines of life, orient themselves not in action, but in readiness. Stomata, the tiny pores on leaves, remain closed, conserving the moisture gathered from the night's mist. The entire organism is in a state of poised anticipation, a collective, vegetative inhale held in the blue twilight. It is not eagerness, but a deep, patient certainty. The certainty that the gift of light will come, and when it does, they will be ready to receive it without frenzy, to begin their work anew. Why? The same calm diligence with which they rested. So here, in this liminal hour, you are suspended between worlds. The faint blue light is softening the stars but has not yet touched the forest floor. The dewdrops are gathered but have not yet fallen. The slug's trail glistens but is not yet dry. The trees are poised but not yet photosynthesizing. This is the universe's breath held at the top of the inhalation, a moment of perfect, peaceful potential. There is no need to move toward the coming day, nor to cling to the retreating night. You can exist in this beautiful threshold, where everything is anticipation without anxiety, readiness without rush. The slow, sure turn of the planet carries you through this transition, as it carries the stars, effortlessly. And in that cosmic motion, you can release the very last threads of wakefulness, safe in the knowledge that the dawn, when it truly comes, will be as gentle as this first blue thought. In this serene expectancy, even the concept of separate facts begins to dissolve. The forest, the mist, the dew, the sleeping creature, the patient roots, they are not isolated wonders, but notes in a single sustained chord that has been playing all through the night. This chord is the essence of the forest itself, a state of being that is perpetually both resting and alive, yielding and resilient, individual and interconnected. To listen now is not to learn, but to remember that you too are part of this quiet music. Your breath is the gentle breeze through the pine. The pulse in your veins is the slow drip from the moss. The soft dark behind your eyelids is the fertile, nurturing soil. There is no longer a listener and a story. There is only the unified, breathing whole. The blue light slowly, imperceptibly warms. It does not turn yellow, but softens into a lavender gray, like the inside of a mussel shell. In this light, shapes regain a gentle definition, but without sharpness. The world is a watercolor wash, all edges blurred with kindness. This is the light that dreams see. It casts no shadows to hide in, creates no glare to flinch from. It simply reveals the world as a soft, continuous embrace. In this light, you can see that everything is connected because everything is touched by the same serene illumination. The space between the trees is not empty. It is filled with this luminous, pearlescent air, the very medium of connection. Now, the first true gift of the coming day arrives, not heat, not sound, but scent. As the air warms by a single delicate degree, it begins to lift the essential oils from the pine needles, the damp earth, the sweet decaying leaves. This fragrance is more vivid than in the day, purer than in the night's chill. It is the forest's soul released into the air. It is the smell of peace itself. You do not need to seek it. It comes to you, entering with each effortless breath, traveling to the most ancient parts of your brain, signaling that all is well, that the world is as it should be, and that you are safe within it. With every inhalation, you are breathing in calm. With every exhalation, you are releasing the last faint residue of yesterday. And as you breathe this perfumed peace, feel the immense, gentle patience that surrounds you. The stone that has sat for 10,000 years in the stream bed is patient. The lichen that has grown an inch in a century is patient. The tree that has waited through a decade of drought for a good year is patient. This patience is not passive. It is a deep, active trust in the rightness of time, a profound alignment with the slow, turning world. Your own journey to rest has been an exercise in this same trust. Let that trust be complete now. There is nothing more to know, nothing to hold on to, nowhere to go. The forest is keeping watch. The stars are softly stepping aside. The dawn is holding its breath for you. So allow yourself to dissolve into this lullaby of facts and feelings, of light and scent and silent, living patience. Let the gentle voice that has guided you become just another rustle in the leaves, then a sigh in the grass, then a part of the quiet itself. The sleepy facts universe is not a place you visit. It is a layer of existence you remember, and in remembering, you return to its source. Your awareness is now a dewdrop on a vast spider web of stars, reflecting the whole beautiful world before it peacefully evaporates into the welcoming light of a dream.